back to Food Prep Guide. I am headed out to the garden this morning to fix an issue, and that is the fact that we lost all of our fall seedlings that we sowed in milk jugs this year because we are in a very long and dry drought. And I have a tendency to depend very heavily on the rain. I'm not the type of gardener that is out watering in the garden for 30 minutes to an hour every day. I tend to just let the rain take care of it. I do come out and water, of course, but I am not good about really staying on top of water. And when you are trying to start seedlings, start plants from seeds, they really need that high moisture environment to germinate, especially when it's in something like a milk jug where you have such a limited amount of soil. So I just really dropped the ball this year. I'm not too upset about it because I go into it knowing, hey, I'm not babysitting these and dedicating a whole lot of time to these. I didn't put any money into it. It's just milk jugs that we had laying around the house. So I'm not too heartbroken over it. I knew it was a possibility that it could happen, but I thought it would be a good opportunity to bring you along and talk about Plan B. What is another way that we can start seeds pretty quickly, like whenever it is go time, whether you're in the spring or whether you're in the fall, and for whatever reason you are up against the clock and you really need to get these things going like right now. This is another way that you can get seeds started outside of the milk jug greenhouse type aspect, although we are still going to create a fake or faux greenhouse type effect still, but we're going to put them straight into the ground. So let's get started. If you would like help planning a productive garden, scroll down to the description box of this video and click this link for a free garden printable. We calculated quantities for a year's supply of the most common garden vegetables and organized them into a neat chart to help you plan. We'll send it straight to your inbox. If you're new here, we invite you to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming tutorials on gardening and food preservation, food storage, and more. So one of the differences that we are doing here as Plan B, since I lost my first round of fall seedlings, is planting them straight into the ground. The reason why we start seedlings is to kind of get a jump start on the season, but also to give that plant a really protected environment to grow when it's in its most fragile stage. But we've kind of missed that jump start on the fall season because, of losing that first batch. So that's the main difference, is that we're putting this in the ground, and this whole video is going to be about showing you how I'm kind of what I'm doing to try to still give those seeds a protected environment to grow so that hopefully I don't lose these too. But like I said in the introduction, I do have the drip irrigation that I can make use of, and there is a lot more moisture and nutrients in the ground soil to help me maybe not lose these, even though we are still in a drought. But I'm going to be planting cabbage first, and I am trying out a new to me variety this year from Haas, and it's supposed to be like pretty heat tolerant and pretty frost tolerant. It is called the Cheers cabbage, and I did grow some in the spring. You'll see in past videos, you can see where we grew and harvested the cabbage and how we preserved all that. But we absolutely love this coleslaw starter that we do. It's a canning project, and I like to have enough to be able to serve that dish once a week, which means I would need 52 pints, and I did not get that out of my spring harvest because I also set aside some cabbage from or from that harvest for shredded cabbage, because we like to do a fried cabbage side dish as well with some bacon chunks and some sliced onions. So I didn't dedicate all of the cabbage to that coleslaw starter. I had to go get my little scoop buggy here. I'm not sure what they call it, but man, does it save my knees and it saves my back. Oh, I love this thing. I'll have it linked down in the description box if you are interested. So anyway, I didn't meet my goals for cabbage this year, so that's why I'm doing another fall round. And in the South, it is still extremely hot right now, and that's why I needed a specifically like southern heat tolerant type variety, which is one of the things that Haas Seeds kind of specializes in. They have others too, but they really know hot weather gardening. But I am just planting these about 1/4 of an inch. I don't measure. I use my pinky tip generally to kind of just eyeball it. But basically, the smaller the seed, the not as deep you need to go. The bigger the seed, the deeper it needs to be planted. Is probably the better way to say that. And if you've ever seen pretty much anything in the Brassica family, the seeds are so tiny. So these don't have to be buried very deeply at all. But I mixed the mycorrhizal fungi in. I tried to mix that in a little bit deeper. You saw me with that scoop kind of digging just a little bit of dirt out so that it can go kind of down below, because we want that fungi to come into contact with what will eventually be the roots on these seedlings. After we were done with that row, I'm going to be moving on to our broccoli, and again, I chose a heat tolerant variety known as Green Magic broccoli. Now this is a hybrid variety. I usually plant heirloom only. Up until this year, I did go with several hybrid varieties, especially when it comes to my tomatoes. And I'm a believer. I'm a believer now. I have a better understanding of what hybrid is and what hybrid is not. Does not mean GMO. And so I got such great yields out of those hybrid tomatoes as compared to my heirlooms. And I'm hoping that I'm going to get the same kind of results out of this Green Magic broccoli. It's a hybrid that is supposed to produce very large heads without bolting in unseasonably warm weather. Which, I mean, it's the very end of August, like 1st of September, actually. No, I don't know what day it was when I filmed this, but it was around the 1st of September. It is unseasonably hot, and we are projected to stay pretty hot all the way through to the end of October, which is generally when we would be getting our first frost. So I'm not 100% sure what the season is going to look like for me, so I did go ahead and get a heat-tolerant variety. If you live in the South, if you need some heat-tolerant varieties, I do recommend the Haas seed brands. Another seed company that I am testing out this year is called Texas Tested Seeds. They are just how it sounds. They test their seeds in Texas, which we all know is extremely hot and oftentimes very, very dry. And all of the seeds that they sell there are tested to be able to grow and thrive in those types of conditions. So we got all of our broccoli and cabbage planted, so now I'm just giving it a good water. For teeny tiny seeds like this, your brassicas, your carrots, your lettuce, if it's a teeny tiny seed, you really want a rain head water can or a rain head like attachment on your water hose, because it will help not to displace those tiny seeds. So I'm just giving it a good soaking here. When I am first planting seeds in the ground, I don't depend on the drip irrigation for this. This is my first year with drip irrigation anyway. So I haven't used it a whole lot. I'm still kind of trying to figure out how to use it. Like, it seems self-explanatory, but I don't know. It just seems like it's not soaking the ground like what I thought it would do. So anyway, I will always hand water when I first plant something, just to make sure that the ground is very, very nice and damped, because that's what that seed is going to need. That's going to wake up that seed and make it germinate. Okay, now we are getting into the trick that is going to help protect our seedlings if we can get this kitty cat out of the way. He likes to hog the camera. My daughter's been hanging out with me in the garden as well, she found this big old stag beetle. She likes to quiz me on whether or not I can tell the difference between male and female stag beetles, and she likes to educate me on that. But what we're going to be doing is using the top of our milk jugs, the same ones that we used to do the first round, but just with some modifications. So we need a garden staple, some hole punchers, and just like a top half of a milk jug. We're just going to punch a hole in the side of it, basically something that allows that garden staple to go through, because we're going to use that and secure it to the ground and basically put milk jug tops over each hole. Now, this is not exactly for needing warmth. Like when we think about getting a jump start on seeds in the spring, the reason why we're trying to create this greenhouse effect is because it's cold outside and we're trying to get warmer conditions. And we certainly don't need that, right now. But I do still need to protect in other ways. I think we're about to have a black swallowtail caterpillar. Yep, there she is. She found a black swallowtail caterpillar. We are, now that our dill has been harvested, they have moved over to the parsley, and we have dozens and dozens of black swallowtail caterpillars all throughout our parsley, and we are just letting them enjoy that and grow. And she loves coming out every day and checking for new ones. But anyway, so we don't need to artificially increase the temperature. So what do we need? What's the whole reason for this? In my garden, I have a couple of things. Number one, this is also going to help hold in moisture, because when I water through these milk jugs, and as that water potentially starts to evaporate, that plastic can kind of help catch some of those little water droplets that can then drip back down. It won't be as efficient as a closed container system, but I'm hoping it'll kind of give me an edge in these drought conditions. I'm also protecting against cats. I'm protecting against me and my kids from accidentally stepping on them. I can't tell you how easy it is to accidentally drag a water hose across tender seedlings and just totally rip them out of the ground. So it's providing protection in that way too. Okay, y'all, I hope that was helpful. I know it's a little strange, but we got to do to work with the conditions that we are working in. This drought is not forecasted to end for quite a while. We do have a little blip of rain within the next 2 weeks, but then after that 14-day window, they still don't think there's going to be any rain, although, after 14 days, it really is kind of anybody's guess. But we still don't have much rain in the forecast. So at least this way, I can make use of the drip irrigation and make use of the abundance of nutrients that are available in the ground versus the very limited amount of nutrients that's available in a milk jug, and also the moisture. There's a whole lot more moisture in the ground that's held versus trapped inside of a little milk jug that it gets aired out pretty easily. So I think, I hope, I pray that this is a way to still get a good fall garden in. Okay, that's all for today, and we will see you next time. Bye.